So I don't think it's very often that somebody goes through an experience like what I went through. But here's the deal. My father is from German and Scottish descent, and my birth mother, or my mom, I should have said, was adopted. But, hey guy, what's up, buddy? But I had always assumed that she was white. um, so, many years ago, I had a problem with opiates. And I ended up in jail a few times. More than a few times. Now, at that point, I had pretty long hair. Long, curly, wavy. In fact, I think my profile picture for this channel depicts kind of how my hair looked. So, big, burly, black beard, long, wavy hair. And when I went to jail, all the guards, all the other inmates, you know, they typically called me one of three names. Either Jesus, terrorist, or Bin Laden. I didn't think much of it. I just thought I was, just a white dude with a bit of a, Mediterranean, ethnic, Middle Eastern sort of look. So, I also noticed that, the Middle Eastern dudes would want to hang out with me more in jail than most of the other guys. And I thought, I guess, whatever. But, yeah, so my nickname was Terrorist, Bin Laden, or Jesus, and I didn't really think too much of it. But I've got to be honest that the terrorist and Bin Laden one kind of bothered me. I didn't mind the Jesus nickname too much. Well, some few years ago, my mom finally decided to get her DNA tested. So she sent it in to, I think, 23andMe. I'm not sure about that. But she sent it in, and sure enough, she's straight out of Turkey with pretty heavy Middle Eastern, Mediterranean-ish kind of area blood. I don't mind. In fact, I kind of thought it was pretty cool. Found out who my real grandfather is. I met my new aunt, and I haven't met my cousins yet, but it's a work in progress. At any rate, I just wanted to say, I know I haven't been through what black people go through. Not even close. I had a pretty good friend growing up. I met Lucky when I was 16 or 17. We were best friends for a few years. And he would always say shit like, trying to go get a job, he'd say shit like, they didn't hire me because I'm black. And I thought he was just, I thought it was all in his mind. I'm like, dude, there's no way people are still racist like that. I'm like, you're tripping, man. They didn't hire you because you said something or you did something or just because there was somebody else who was more qualified, they just chose somebody else. It's not a big deal. Man, the ignorance of youth, huh? Yeah. They didn't hire him because he was black. Straight the fuck up. And it's, I don't know. When I realized how racially fucked up we are. Like, how much more we pay attention to race than we do about anything else. It was kind of an epiphany, you know? Kind of like, oh my God, dude, we really are still really fucked up and ignorant and premature as far as a species goes. But what I wanted to say was that when I realized that the name calling, right, the quote unquote nicknames in jail really were kind of racial slurs, really were racially charged, it I don't know how to explain it. It's like a magic eye book. Like, all of a fucking sudden, my entire experience being incarcerated took on a whole different dimension. And shit started to click. Like, oh my God. People really are fucking racist. Like, everybody. And it just blows my mind. Like, why? How? I don't even understand it. Who gives a fuck what somebody's skin color is? It's just nuts. So to some small, fraction of a degree, I've experienced what black people experience to a very charged, much more potent level. Like I said, it's not even anything close to what black people go through, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that I was being ignorant. And I started watching Woke. Crazy show. But the main character, right, he goes through this kind of whole thing where he's not really picking up on the fact that people around him are being racist. Morning. And he's just kind of like, floating through life, being aloof to the fact that he's being a target of racism. And then one day, right, if you haven't seen it, and I'm not going to throw out any spoilers, one day he just gets fucking pushed the fuck around by a couple of cops that are looking for some dude that robbed a liquor store or some shit like that. And it fucks him up and it wakes him up to the reality of the situation. So it's kind of a play on words. I don't think it's really being, I think kind of to some degree makes fun of the whole woke culture, but from another perspective, it's really outlining just how crazy shit really is. Shit really continues to be. But what I wanted to tie in here is that after really contemplating and thinking through the problems with money and financial disparity, it's dawned on me that racism is deeply rooted in the financial incentive, in the financial motive, in the desire and drive to make more money. I mean, think about why slaves existed in the first place. Slaves were a tool to make money with. The slave trade was all about making money, right? There were financial incentives. People needed workers. They wanted cheap labor, and how much more cheap can you get than free? So, and now, as things continue to progress, it's the poor people, right? The neighborhoods that are like disproportionately black and Latino and the people that are just traditionally the targets of racism. So it's this cycle that perpetuates itself. And like I said in my other video, and like I mentioned in the STEM Prime Research Cast videos, and all of the great filter videos. Well, not all of them, but some of them, right? Kind of mention it. Racism would be a non-issue if we solved the financial motive, if we were able to get rid of money in a way that it just extracted that extra motivation that we don't need. So I've been working on a mathematical proof of what I call idiophysical dynamism, and this is just what the words break down into: idea, physical world, right? Dynamism, the dynamics between the idea, the world of the mind, and our physical world. If you have games, like a board game, right? Well, okay, let's back up. There are certain truths about the physical world that you just can't sidestep. Gravity, for instance. You can't decide to make a rule that gravity doesn't apply, say, right here in this little cement area. It doesn't work. You can't just verbally say, okay, the law now is that gravity no longer functions here. It's not how it works. But with a board game or a sport game, a sport, you can do that. Board game, the rules are made up. We conjure them up. So this kind of actually ties into game theory pretty heavily. But those rules you can break. Of course, they'll call it cheating, right? And if you get caught, you get penalized for it, maybe even kicked out of the game. But you can break those rules. Another system of low idiophysical coupling are laws. Laws are just verbal agreements. They're just rules that humans have made up. They're not tied to any natural physical process that keeps them from being broken. They're not. Another example, of course, is money. Money is just a made-up rule that we came up with, that we all have decided to agree on, but yet the rules of money can still be broken, right? You can steal money from other people. You can print counterfeit money. You can write, checks that are going to bounce. You can, all sorts of things that happen all the time. So what I'm trying to say is, I've hypothesized, okay, that much of the ills of our society isn't due directly to the fact that we use money, but it's due to the fact that money is a system of extremely low idiophysical coupling. It's not tied to anything. The stock market randomly goes up and down. Why? It's based on emotion, fear, or belief, right? It's totally structured to behave and react to what people believe that own the stocks. Why did he sell? Why did he buy? Was it a valid reason for him to sell and buy? Did it have anything to do with the reality of the situation? Like when Elon Musk was on Joe Rogan. He smoked weed with Joe Rogan and his stock tanked the very next day. And then it came back stronger. Did that have anything to do with how productive his companies were being? Did it have anything to do with, anything physical, anything true about the reality of his companies? No. It was just a reflection of a fear response based directly on the fact that he smoked pot on a podcast. Now, so what are the dangers of systems with low idiophysical coupling? Now, systems with high idiophysical coupling, there really is no danger. I mean, because you already know how that system's supposed to work and function, and it will continue to do so because it is tied directly into the laws of physics, the laws of nature, how the world around us works. But systems with low idiophysical coupling can be abused and played and manipulated until the fucking cows come home. So, you tell me which one's more dangerous, which one is less trustworthy, which one is going to end up having more problems. Of course, it's systems of low idiophysical coupling where the idea of how it works is not even related to how that actual physical system should work. Now, there are systems that are kind of mid-range coupling that are kind of related to how the physical world works. For instance, traffic laws. Sure, the laws themselves are made up, but they're made up because they are based on how the true physical world works. For instance, right? I don't know if you can see it. Stoplights, right? You don't have to obey the stoplight. You can go right through it if you want. But if you do, you're chancing the very real possibility of another very real vehicle slamming into your side and causing very real damage. So, even though our traffic laws aren't fully, don't have a high idiophysical coupling, it's not bolted to the reality of how the physical world works. It is designed to, how do I say it? It's a mid-range coupling, okay? It's loosely bolted to the possibility of a very real physical event happening. But money is so fucking low down there, and it has such a low coupling, it's almost non-existent. Money laws, right? Some laws are decently coupled. Okay, I'll admit that. But money has no coupling. It's not value, right? That it's bolted to. It had better coupling when it was on the gold standard, but that's not my point. it still had very little coupling, and the value of gold still varied as, you know, different events occurred, or different things were found, or different inventions were created. So to build a system that so tightly knits our society together, yet is so obviously aloof and just does its own thing. I mean, our very livelihood is directly tied to the stock market, which is literally a random system. Like, very literally a truly random system. It can tank any second. It's volatile as fuck. It goes up, it goes down. Why would you build your livelihood on such a shaky system? I mean, I'm no church boy. Not even close, but that old song, The Wise Man Built His House Upon a Rock, same fucking deal, right? With the financial system, the way that it is, it's built on the sand, dude. And any moment can just fucking wash us out to sea. There is no stability. Every single fucking day, we are just betting that it will continue to work. Anyway, back to racism. Racism itself is so deeply tied to the low ideophysical nature of money. Everything from, level of education, right? Financial issue, to the lack of diversity dispersion, financial issue. If there was no money, there would be very little to zero racism, because money drives racism 100%. There's no question about that, right? So the question is, can you disengage that fact? Can you separate racism from the financial motive? I don't think you can. And I think if we're ever truly going to eliminate racism as a species, we're going to have to get rid of money. There's no fucking two ways about it. So, again, I'm at the end of my walk. Do you have a good day? Love everybody. Even people that you don't think deserve it. Whoops. Even people that you don't want to love. Just love humanity. Everybody's a fucking human, right? And some of those people that have done fucked up things, if you don't remember from my last video, they did it, most likely 98% chance, over 98% chance, because they needed to, because they were financially motivated to do so. All right, take care.